Morning. It is the fourth Sunday of Easter, sometimes called Good Shepherd Sunday. This morning's readings, in the Gospel in particular, is Jesus talking about sheep and shepherds, and kind of the practicalities of how that industry worked, and then using it as a metaphor for their own life together and their own leadership. And so Jesus begins to tell his disciples, his followers, those who are listening, that anyone who doesn't enter into the sheep pen, the sheepfold, by the gate is a thief, a bandit, to the person who means to do them harm, someone who cannot be trusted. He talks about how when the sheep go out, outside of the sheepfold, outside of the gate, outside of the pen, they're okay because they know the sound of their own shepherd's voice. They're not likely to follow anyone else. And so if a sheep goes missing, it's because it's been attacked or it's been stolen. And those who were listening did not understand. And so Jesus tries to re-explain it, probably very unhelpfully, by continuing on with this metaphor. And he talks about how he is the gate. And he doesn't say he's the shepherd this time. And but he says that he is the gate. He's not the gatekeeper, he is the actual gate. And it's a metaphor that's really rich because it's a doorway into a life that we can trust, a life that we can depend on. It made me think about what is inside the gate and what's outside the gate. Once the sheep are inside the gate, once they're inside the pen, they're in a place of safety and protection. Once they're outside of the gate, they're less protected, but they're more free. And they're able to have freedom of movement. They're able to get the exercise they need. They're able to get the nutrients they need. And so the sheep need both. We as people need both. We need the sense of safety and protection and security and stability in our lives, but we also need the freedom of movement. We've been called to enter into the gate during this time. Enter into the gate of being inside the sheepfold, so that we can be protected from the virus. We can be protected from becoming sick. And as we are inside, there are lots of voices who want to come in and tell us other things. Not only is there misinformation that floats around, but there's also actually true facts that are being debated, and it's really over something that we can't control and something that we can't fully know yet. And so you have people on the one hand saying, let's reopen and let's get outside of the sheep pen. Let's go back to our lives. And then, of course, the others are saying that would be irresponsible. And in fact, our governor has extended the stay-at-home order through the end of May. Um, you have medical professionals who disagree on how much, we need to stay away from each other. There was debate about mask wearing and all of these things. So it's hard to know what to actually believe. There are a lot of other people that are very invested in us believing certain things, whether it's from an economic standpoint or a political standpoint. In Jesus' day, he was probably bringing this up because it was important that his followers knew where he stood, because there were a lot of other people that were out there sharing their own visions, their own dreams, their own ways of saying, this is how we ought to live. We have the same issue today. So we get to decide if we want to listen to which politicians we want to listen to, whether or not we want to listen to the billionaires, whether or not we want to listen to the preachers on the TV screens, the celebrities, or if we want to go through the one gate that we know that we can trust. Jesus himself being that gate. And as we know throughout Scripture and Jesus' own teachings, that once Jesus is not physically with us, that he gave us an advocate, the Spirit that lives within us, so that we still know our shepherd's voice. We still know the gate to walk in and out of. To walk in when we know that we need times of stability and safety and security and protection, and the gates to walk out into the world where we have freedom, we have the ability to move about and be ourselves in the world. Now is an important time for us to hearken to that voice, to listen to that voice that's within us, that knows what's true, that knows what's right, that knows what's best, not only for ourselves, but for our human family, and also for our animal family, and our plant family, and our soil, and our water, and our air family. Many of us know how good part of this shutdown has been for us. Laying aside the damage that it's done to individuals economically, financially, to our markets economically, and the ravages of health in our healthcare system, that all has been awful. And at the same time, we've learned how to rest, I think. We've learned the importance of rest. We've learned the importance of doing simple things at home. So many more people are gardening and making their own food and baking bread and these things that we used to do that we took for granted in a faster paced world. There's something deeply true about these ways of being that is not so dependent on the 24/7 news cycle, that's not so dependent on the fast food industry, that's not so dependent on Amazon and being able to buy whatever we need whenever we need it, whatever that word need means. And I invite us to listen to that. And throughout this week, to think about every time you open a door or a door is opened around you, to think about that door being Christ, being Jesus, being the Spirit. As a metaphor for how to truly listen, how to truly discern what's right and what's wrong, what's true and what's false, what's good and what's bad, and all the complexity in between those things, and what's true and right and best for you and for your family and for the family of all creation. So may we remember that Jesus is not only the Good Shepherd, but he's also the true gate. And if we learn to trust that gate, to learn to trust that entrance and that exit, we can discern all of the other ways that people are trying to get in and get our attention. And try to take from us our humanity, try to take from us our sense of self, our sense of knowing what is right and what is best. So we don't have to listen to all the things that the mainstream media wants to say, all the things that the alternative media wants to say. We don't have to listen to the conspiracy theories and be dependent upon those. We don't have to listen to one doctor saying it's entirely safe, it's a fairly weak virus, and another doctor saying it's dangerous and it's unlike anything we've ever seen before. You have all these options out there now, and it's more important, I think, than ever, to really be able to trust the Spirit within us, the Spirit of wisdom and truth and life, and that as we continue on in this path of faith, that we do discern and we do listen, that we know the right gate to go in and go out of, both for our protection and our safety, and also for our freedom in our life. Have a blessed Sunday, and